Check it out. Think she's lost? Maybe looking for her husband's squadron? Laughter rippled through his group, sharp and quick, like the snap of a whip across the room. Davis, emboldened by the jeers of his peers, stood up and sauntered over to her table. Leaning casually, or at least that's what he thought against it. Arms crossed, smirk in place, he aimed to look like he owned the room. "Ma'am," he began, voice loud enough for a few nearby Marines to hear. "That's a pretty serious jacket you've got there. You a big fan of naval aviation?" Lauren Taylor didn't look up immediately. She finished chewing her bite of chicken, swallowed deliberately, and sipped water slowly. Then, with quiet authority, she lifted her gaze to meet his. Calm, steady, blue eyes that didn't flinch. "You could say that," she replied, her voice even quiet, carrying the weight of someone used to command, rather than being questioned. Davis blinked. The lack of reaction confused him, but he quickly shrugged it off. He gestured vaguely toward the flight line beyond the messaul windows. "Well, you know, we all got our call signs around here. It's kind of a pilot thing." He leaned in slightly, trying to appear relaxed. "I bet a cool jacket like that comes with a cool call sign. What do they call you?" "Top Gun's girlfriend?" His friends snickered. The joke landed exactly as intended. Sharp, dismissive, little jab meant to put her in her place. Outsider, civilian, spouse, anything but one of them. He was expecting a blush, a flustered denial, maybe an indignant retort. What he got instead was silence, then words that hit him like a sledgehammer. Blackmamba. The room seemed to hush around him. Davis froze. The smirk that had decorated his face for the past 30 seconds faltered. This wasn't the reaction he was built to process. Too specific, too loaded. A simple question had turned into a trap hand. She had laid it perfectly. The noise of the mess all faded. The corporal suddenly felt like he had stepped into a lion's den, facing a predator he could barely recognize. The name hung in the air, deadly, precise, unforgettable. Blackmamba, Davis repeated, nervously laughing too loud, too sharp. That's a good one." His hand fidgeted. "Seriously though, ma'am, that's an official jacket. You can get in a lot of trouble wearing stuff you're not supposed to on base. It's a USMC thing." Lauren lifted her fork again, movements calm and deliberate. "I'm aware of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Corporal." "Are you?" Her voice was cool, almost cutting. He leaned closer to her, voice rising. "Because that name tape says Taylor. And those patches." His finger pointed to a circular patch on her right shoulder, depicting a skull wearing a pilot's helmet. VMFAT 101. The sharpshooters. That's a Hornet training squadron. Fleet replacement. "You're telling me you're a Hornet pilot?" The challenge was clear. Not a question, an accusation. Several older Marines nearby began to watch, annoyance and resignation in their faces. They'd seen overconfident young boots pick fights before, but this felt different. Lauren's stillness was unnerving. "I've spent time with the sharpshooters," she said evenly, taking another bite of her chicken, her expression unreadable. Davis was losing his composure. Her calm was a wall he couldn't breach. He needed to reassert authority. "Okay, look," he snapped, dropping any pretense of politeness. "Let's see some ID if you're authorized to wear that. You'll have a CAC card that proves it." Without a word, Lauren reached into a pocket on her flight suit, produced her wallet, and extracted her common access card. She held it out to him. Davis snatched it. He expected a dependent ID, a contractor badge, anything to confirm his assumptions. But what he saw froze him in place. Active duty. Major Lauren E. Taylor. Rank O-4. A cold knot formed in his stomach. Pride battled reality, but pride always lost to training. Still, he forced himself to continue, to save face in front of his friends. "This could be fake," he muttered, voice weak even to his own ears. "It's real," she replied, still calm, almost bored. "Taken at Yuma, their camera is terrible, but the chip works. You can verify it at the Chow line scanner." He was cornered. Back down and lose face. Push forward and risk humiliation. The latter one, He tapped another patch smaller, intricate over her heart. What about this one? WTI patch. Weapons and Tactics Instructor. You know what that is, ma'am? 7 weeks of hell. You don't just get this, you earn it with blood. He was practically sneering now, oblivious to what those threads had seen. To him, it was a symbol. To her, a scar for a fleeting second. The din of the messaul faded, and she saw it the roar of an FA-18 under fire. The smell of ozone and sweat, the terrifying bloom of anti-aircraft fire, the red glow of instruments painting her face. A voice in her head set Viper 11, taking fire, need exit now. A memory, raw and alive, passed through her mind. Then gone. The young corporal had no idea the weight of the patch he was touching across the room. Master Gunnery Sergeant Cole lowered his coffee. He had been observing quietly, initially unimpressed, but now attentive. The combination of patches, name, and call sign triggered a rare recognition. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "Colonel Matthews," he said quietly, urgency in his voice. "Major Taylor is here. 22 Area Messaul." The colonel's response was immediate, sharp. "I'm on my way." Moments later, Colonel Matthews, the base sergeant major, a brigadier general, and Cole appeared in the messaul. Their boots echoed, authoritative, commanding attention. Corporal Davis and his friends went pale. They realized too late the magnitude of the situation. Colonel Matthews stopped in front of Lauren and saluted. "Major Taylor, on behalf of Macist Myiramar, I apologize for the welcome you've received. It is an honor to have you here." The brigadier general addressed the corporal for the entire room to hear, recounting her heroic 600-plus combat hours. WTI graduate, Distinguished Flying Cross recipient. Saving lives under enemy fire. Silence pressed down on the messaul. Davis' swagger evaporated. The base sergeant major stepped close, voice a deadly whisper. "You are a disgrace, Corporal. You failed the most basic test of leadership. See the uniform, read the rank, respect the person." Trembling, Davis returned her ID. "Ma'am, Major, I'm sorry." Lauren took it. Calm, firm, authoritative. Don't soften the standard for anyone. But never apply it differently based on what you think you see. Weeks later, the story became Myiramar legend. Corporal Davis learned humility. So it's changed. Lauren continued her work, shaping future pilots. One day, outside the post exchange, Davis approached her in civilian clothes. Genuine remorse in his eyes. "Major Taylor," he said, finally looking at her. I'm sorry. I read your citations, after-action reports. I had no idea." Lauren nodded slightly, softening. "Learn from this, Corporal. Don't let it define you, but never forget it." He walked away, shoulders straighter. She watched, then headed to her car. The sun set over the flight line, the day's work waiting. The legacy of women like her endured. Thank you for watching. Stories of women in the military are vital to our shared history. Like, share, subscribe to Soldiers' Legacy to honor these incredible legacies and make sure their stories are never forgotten.